that, once upon a time, in a cozy little cottage, surrounded by a green, rambling garden, lived an old man with a kind heart and a love for growing things. One sunny morning, he found a tiny, almost forgotten turnip seed in his pocket. "Well now, what have we here?" he chuckled. He decided to give this little seed a chance. He carefully dug a small hole in the richest soil on his farm, popped the seed in, and patted the earth down gently. Every single day, the old man tended to his special plant. He'd bring it fresh water from the well, his watering can glinting in the sun. He'd sing it little songs as he pulled out any pesky weeds that dared to sprout nearby. "Grow big and strong, my little turnip," he'd whisper. And oh, did it listen. The little green shoots grew into big, broad leaves, and deep beneath the soil, something magical was happening. The turnip grew, and it grew, and it grew. It grew bigger than a pumpkin, bigger than a wheelbarrow, bigger than anything the old man had ever seen. Soon it was the largest, most magnificent turnip in the entire world. Its top peeked out of the ground like a great purple hill. The day finally came when it was time to harvest. The old man rubbed his hands together, his eyes twinkling with excitement. "Time to see what we've got," he declared. He marched out to the garden, rolled up his sleeves, and took a firm grip on the turnip's leafy top. He planted his feet firmly in the dirt and pulled. He pulled with all his might, his face turning as red as a beet. He grunted and he groaned. He hoed, but that turnip wouldn't budge. Not even a wiggle. It was stuck as fast as a rock in the ground. "Goodness me," he panted, wiping his brow. "This is a job for two." So he called out to his wife, who was in the kitchen baking bread. "Wife, dear wife, come and help me. I can't pull this turnip out." The old woman came bustling out, wiping her floury hands on her apron. "My word," she exclaimed, her eyes wide at the sight of the colossal vegetable. "What a turnip!" Without a second thought, she wrapped her arms snugly around the old man's waist. The old man took hold of the turnip leaves again. "Ready," he shouted. "Ready," she replied. Together they pulled. "Heave, ... ho," they chanted. They pulled and they pulled, leaning back so far their boots nearly lifted off the ground. They strained and they struggled, but still, that giant turnip didn't move an inch. It was as if it had grown roots all the way to the center of the earth. The old woman, catching her breath, had an idea. "We need more help," she said. "I'll call our granddaughter. Granddaughter, oh, granddaughter." She called toward the house. "Come and help us pull this turnip." Their granddaughter, who was busy reading a book in the sunshine, came skipping over. "Wow," she gasped, her pigtails bouncing. "That's the biggest turnip I've ever seen." She quickly joined the line, grabbing hold of her grandmother's apron. So now the granddaughter held the old woman held the old man, and the old man held the turnip. All together now, the old man instructed 1.2.3. Pull, they all shouted in unison. They pulled and they pulled, a funny little train of people tugging with all their strength. The ground shook a little, but the turnip stayed put. It was utterly, completely, stubbornly stuck. The granddaughter laughed. "This turnip is too strong for us." She giggled. "I know who can help." She let out a sharp whistle. "Here, boy, come on, boy." Bounding out from the barn came their big, friendly dog, his tail wagging a mile a minute. He barked excitedly, wondering what all the fuss was about. "Good boy," said the granddaughter, patting his head. "We need your help." The clever dog seemed to understand. He turned around and gently took the hem of the granddaughter's dress in his mouth. Now the line was even longer. The dog held the girl held the old woman held the old man, and the old man held the turnip. "Okay, team, let's give it one more try," called the old man. They pulled and they pulled, a chorus of grunts and a happy bark filling the air. They pulled so hard the dog's paws skidded in the dirt, but that turnip, it just wouldn't move. It was starting to feel impossible. The dog, not one to give up, let go for a moment and trotted over to the porch where the family cat was snoozing in a patch of sun. "Meow," the cat asked, opening one lazy eye as the dog nudged her with his nose. The dog barked again, gesturing with his head toward the turnip. The cat, always up for a bit of excitement, stretched languidly, arched her back, and trotted over. She looked at the giant turnip, then at the strange chain of people and dog, and flicked her tail. She elegantly walked up and took hold of the dog's fluffy tail in her teeth. So now the cat held the dog held the girl held the old woman held the old man, and the old man held the turnip. Right side the old man, this must be it. Everybody ready, pull. They pulled and they pulled. Still nothing. Just then, as everyone was about to give up, a tiny grey mouse with twitching whiskers peeked out from a hole in the wall. The cat spotted it, but instead of chasing it, she had a better idea. "Meow," she called, a friendly invitation. "Little mouse, we need you." The mouse, seeing that everyone was far too busy to cause any trouble, bravely scurried out. It ran right up to the end of the line and, with all its might, took hold of the very tip of the cat's long tail. It was the most ridiculous sight you could ever imagine. A strong old man, a sturdy old woman, a helpful granddaughter, a big dog, a sleek cat, and one tiny, tiny mouse, all in a row, ready to pull a giant turnip. "Okay, little mouse," the old man chuckled, "you're our last hope. On the count of 3, 1, ... 2, 3, heave-o, heave-o." They all pulled together, a final, tremendous, united effort. The strong pull from the man, the steady pull from the woman, the energetic pull from the girl, the mighty pull from the dog, the surprising pull from the cat, and the tiny, determined pull from the little mouse. And then ... something happened. There was a deep rumble from under the ground ... a groan, a creak ... and then ... pop. Out came the giant turnip. It flew out of the ground with such force that everyone fell backward, one on top of the other, like a row of dominoes. The old man landed on the soft grass, the old woman landed on the old man, the granddaughter landed on the old woman, the dog landed on the granddaughter, the cat landed on the dog, and the tiny mouse landed on the cat's soft belly. For a moment there was silence, and then they all burst out laughing. Peals of laughter rang through the garden as the enormous turnip rolled to a stop nearby. They had done it. Together, the old man, beaming with pride, stood up and dusted himself off. He looked at his family, his animals, and the little mouse who had made all the difference. He knew exactly what to do. He fetched his biggest knife and began to carve the magnificent turnip. He shared it with everyone who had helped, a big slice for his wife, a sweet slice for his granddaughter, a crunchy piece for the dog, a tender morsel for the cat, and a tiny, perfect crumb for the brave little mouse. That evening, they all gathered around the table and had a grand feast, the most delicious turnip soup and roasted turnip anyone had ever tasted. It was a celebration of teamwork, proving that even the biggest problems can be solved when everyone, no matter how big or small, works together. And they all lived happily and full ever after. Thank you so much for joining us for this wonderful story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more tales. We'll see you next time.